Well, g'day, it is Jonathan here and I'm out doing what I absolutely love, and that is having a fish. And today, what I'm going to do is go for a bit of a walk along the bank of my local estuary and cast a few lures around, something that I love doing, and I'm sure you at home have done something very similar. There's hundreds of estuaries in New South Wales and even more around Australia, and they're such great places to go for a fish. So what I'm gonna do today is walk from this break wall around here along this beach, and we're gonna stop along the way, have a bit of a chat, and I'm gonna share some tips and tricks with you to hopefully get you catching a few more fish next time you go out.
So what exactly is an estuary? It's any stretch of coastal river, creek, lagoon or lake that sits between the ocean and the upper limit of the tides. The water here is salty or brackish, not fresh, and that special mix of salt is a big part of what makes estuaries so full of life.
Now, before we go fishing today, it's really important we understand why estuaries are so important. The reason we do that is because it's not until we can understand their role in our ecosystem can we truly appreciate why we need to look after them. Estuaries are the breeding grounds for smaller fish. A lot of the big fish that you see, people holding photos, big smiling thumbs up faces, well, those fish had to start somewhere, and a lot of the times it's in places like this, in and amongst the mangroves, the salt marsh, the rock bars, the weed beds, the Posidonia meadows. All those key habitats are where small fish lives start. And us as anglers need to look after those areas, and we need to focus on those areas when we're fishing, because that's where all the action's happening. So next time you go for a fish in the estuary, it's not just a big body of water. It is the start of every fisher's life, and that is something we need to remember.
You really don't need much gear. A light spinning rod and reel is the perfect all-round outfit. You can flick lures or fish with bait on the same combo. And dress for the day. A long sleeve shirt, long pants, a hat, sunnies, sunscreen, and of course, something to put on your feet.
Well, another reason that fishing the shoreline in estuaries is so cool is because of all the different areas you get to fish. At the moment, I'm fishing off a bit of a rocky outcrop. Before, I was fishing off a rock wall. Before that, I was fishing off some sand and a little beach. And then before that, it was a jetty or a wharf. The point is, no two casts are the same. And every time we go for a walk with our rod and our backpack, we're covering new ground, and it seems like a new adventure. So if you want to explore more of your local estuary, this is a great way to go for a fish. Plus, you can encounter a lot of different species. Now, one of the things we've got to remember when we're fishing the shoreline of estuaries is that we can't take a lot of gear with us. The reason for that is because we're going to have to walk along the shoreline, and often we can only park our car or our bicycle nearby, and we have to leave it there in order to fish other areas. That is where a bag comes into play. You need to get yourself a fishing bag that you can put on your back or sits on your shoulder or your waist, and that's the only thing you can take to hold your gear, so you've got to be selective. So, what do I put in my bag? Let me show you what I brought today. I've got a brag mat, which is really important to measure our fish, particularly if we want to make sure they're of legal length. I've got a box here of soft plastics, so these are my soft bait, and then I've got a box here of hard bodies or hard baits. And I've also got in here a fish handling glove, which is really important whenever we're catching fish like flathead and we want to hold them correctly. And then over here, I've got some pliers and some scissors. That is all you need to go have a lot of fun when you're out on the water. And I'll run you through the different options that I've got inside both of these boxes, which might inspire you next time you're at the tackle shop. So in my soft plastics box, I've got a few different options. I've got ones that look like this. We call this a jerk shad. I've got ones that look like a prawn or a shrimp. And I've got ones that look like a little potty mullet or a herring. Now, the reason that's important, and you'll notice there's all different shapes and sizes and colors in here, is we've got to change up our presentation or our lure to see what the fish want to eat on the day. In the other box that I've got here, we've got hard baits, and it's a similar story. You'll notice a range of different shapes, colors, sizes, and profiles. The thing to remember when you're going fishing, it doesn't matter if it's estuary fishing, in impoundments, offshore, off the local jetty, is you've got to have options. Options give you an opportunity to change it up, and that is when you'll start to find what the fish are eating on that particular day. Now, quite often, the places that we want to fish means we have to get a little bit wet, and that is totally fine. And that's one of the reasons why I love this style of fishing, is because you do feel connected to the places that we're throwing a line, where it be in this beautiful fresh salt water of Lake Macquarie. But with that comes a few things we need to watch out for. Things like stingrays, razorfish, stonefish, they live in these areas too. So a couple tips that I've got for you. Number one, get yourself a pair of these. These are what they call boat booties. They're just a wetsuit material, and they protect your feet from any nasties on the ground. And number two, when you're wading through flats like this, instead of stepping like this, you just simply want to drag your feet, and it can spook any of the stingrays away before you get there. But just put your sunnies on, keep an eye out, and just know that other things live in these areas just as much as you would like to go fishing. Now, it doesn't always go to plan, but that doesn't mean we can't change up our method and try something different. And as fishers, we need to be okay with that. When one technique isn't working, try a different one, and that can make all the difference. So at the moment, I've been fishing this location this afternoon for about 45 minutes, and I haven't had any success. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go home and try first thing again in the morning for a different species. And that's what it's about. If something's not working, mix it up and try again. And eventually you'll catch fish. And that's when it gets really fun. Yep, got him on. Oh, yes, this is what I'm coming out here on. That is exactly what we're after. A beautiful yellowfin whiting off the flat.
One last thing worth knowing, the tides. Tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the sun and the moon, and most estuaries get too high and too low tides every day. As a rough rule, a falling tide suits hunters like flathead and tailor, while a rising tides bring out the grazers like brim and whiting. But fish love to break the rules, so the main thing is just get out there and give it a go.